I walked away from Punishing Grey Raven 3 months after its release on Global. It was during the first major patch, Frozen Darkness, with the introduction of the most wanted character of the time, Alpha. But I am getting ahead of myself, so let's take a few steps back. I was one of the few people that was lucky enough to know about the game way before its global launch. I watched gameplay videos or listened to the awesome music up until the release. Besides the rainbow card drama that would put a bad taste in everyone's mouth, the release of the game was as awesome as we all thought it would be. The game wasn't anywhere near close to perfect though, and it was these imperfections that made me, well, quit. Initially, PGR's story was so slow and a little confusing. It felt like the same old tired plot that was used many times before. A post-apocalyptical era, humans create androids or constructs, the constructs are treated badly by everyone except for you, the protagonist. Some constructs go rogue and then join the bad guys, you know, blah blah blah. After a few chapters and thinking that it would just get better, I didn't feel that engaged anymore. I wanted a more immersive narrative that would keep me on the edge of my seat, but sadly, Robot Michelin Man's backstory didn't do it for me. I also noticed, or started to notice, how dull everything looked. The lackluster palette in PGR made the world feel lifeless. Too lifeless. And other graphical aspects didn't help out much either. It took so long for the community to take Roland seriously. I mean, look at this clown. He looks like an emo kid from high school parading about how much he's such a rebel, and then pulls out the lunchbox that his mom made for his lunch. And let's not forget the grind. Those repetitive tasks made my fingertips ache and my motivation wane. There was no autoplay feature to speed up the most tedious endeavors. Overall, it seemed like in the long term the game just wasn't for me. The final nail in the coffin was when I and many others rolled in the wrong gacha for Alpha. Collecting enough black cards for a 10-pull took ages back then if you had a life and weren't a whale. And seeing that I couldn't even hit pity really hit me hard. So that was it. I had enough and I turned my back on the game. I even made a shitty meme video praising for how good it was, but I still had to say farewell. Farewell to a disappointment. Genshin Impact was coming out soon, and that was supposed to be a suitable replacement for the void that PGR left. I quit Genshin Impact after a few months. It lasted longer than PGR, but man, it had some similar problems like tedious grinding, a ruthless gacha, and a mediocre Disney story. The worst part was the community. I didn't want to be a part of that trash. But you know what they say, time heals all wounds. I decided to check back on PGR. It was well over a year since I quit the game, so I figured there were some significant improvements. After downloading the game on my emulator and feeling excited to go back to a game that I thought I loved, I arrived at the welcome back screen, which played, you know, the nice little cutscene. After the cutscene though, I was bombarded with notices of new features, items, stories, gameplay mechanics, character gotchas, you name it, and, well, it turned me off. It felt like I missed out on too much, which was true. The feeling of guilt and FOMO rushed over me until I didn't want to play anymore. This sounds so dramatic, like I was getting back with my ex, but it really happened, multiple times. Over the course of the next few months, I would do this 2 more times, and each time I would either feel that sensation of fear that I missed too much, or laziness that I would have to set up my emulator again for the controls I wanted. One thing was certain though, I kept trying to come back. Let's get to the point now. I finally overcame those feelings because of 2 things. Number 1, Alpha Crimson Weave dropped on CN. After seeing her gameplay, it ignited something within me that was more than just motivation to get back into the game. It was something like, damn, she looks so cool and so fun to play. Also this. The second thing that made me come back was the announcement that PGR was going to have a PC client. Let's fast forward to today and my thoughts on the game. I've been playing daily since coming back, which was around the end of January. This was during the Surviving Lucem event, which sparked a lot of hype in the community because it was widely considered to have the darkest but richest story so far in the game. I've yet to catch up because there's just so much story to read through, and it would have been a lot faster if it wasn't for one fact. The story is hella good now. I love how involved you, as the self-insert commandant, are in every aspect of the story. It's so badass and immersive.
姉さんを救える方法は一つだけ。私を受け入れて。
The graphics have improved significantly, and with the help of the PC client, it'll look even better. There are channels on YouTube dedicated to showing off how amazing the animation team is over at Kudo Games. At least for the newer ones, each character has an insane level of detail after every attack. It's the little things that give life to a game. Yeah, tedious tasks are still there, but nowhere near as bad as they were before. Auto-clear was implemented into the game a while back, and there are ways that a returning commandant can catch up. It's like they've been listening to community feedback and have been diligent in improving their game based on what they receive. As far as I can tell, the devs over at Kudo Games seem to really care about the community, and it's hard to find someone that doesn't appreciate that. The game still isn't perfect, but that's okay because no game is or ever will be perfect. Depending on when this video is released, the PC client is out or close to being out, and I hope the hype brings more players in. The developers, listening intently to the players' voices, have injected vitality into the game. With regular events, updates, and improvements, Punishing Gray Raven has become a living, breathing entity that continues to evolve and surprise us. But what truly sets this game apart is the soul that permeates every pixel, the stories weaved, the friendships forged, and the moments of triumph and despair. Punishing Gray Raven has become more than just a game. It's a journey that touches the core of our gaming souls. But seriously, this is just the beginning. It's the type of game that only gets better and better, and that's especially the case in Global since we already know all the goodness of what's coming. Join me. Join us. And together we will embark on a journey that will leave us breathless and wanting more. I mean, literally, I want more than just one copy of every character, but I'm no whale and I suck at the game anyway, so getting SSS isn't gonna make much of a difference. Anyhow, let's keep the spirit of Punishing Gray Raven alive.